Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Zeri supplementary guide, and we're going to be talking about AP Zeri. Now, is AP Zeri viable? Yes, it is. You will see in this video that she does do pretty insane damage, and she is viable. But like, viable is one thing, but would I pick her? The answer is no. Like, I'd rather pick almost any other AP mid laner. There's almost nothing that she can really offer that someone else doesn't. Like, yeah, maybe jumping over the walls with like the poke from your QW and like your burst damage AoE with your R. Like, no one else can do that and jump over walls as well. But really, I wouldn't really recommend AP Zeri, really. But this is just to show that she's viable and just explain the build. If you really want to do it, you can, but I just really don't recommend it. Anyways, of course, this is a supplementary guide, so if you want to see her skills and leveling order and her crit build, take a look at the complete guide that I released a couple days ago. And yeah, let's get straight into the build. Okay, so first up, the first item I'm going for is Manamune. So why am I going for Manamune? A couple of reasons. Manamune is of course not an AP item, it's an AD item. You stack it with your normal basic attacks, by the way, so in case you guys didn't know, you actually stack your tier with your normal basic attacks because they kind of count towards the stacking. I'm not too sure why, but hey, it's really easy to stack. But of course we're not taking it because it's easy to stack. We're taking it because number one, it gives us mana. And of course, especially with the AP build, you'll be spamming your abilities a lot. And number two, why we're building it is because it's exactly that. It enhances the damage of all your abilities. So all of your abilities, like your ult, your Q, and your W, all do AP damage already. Even when you build an AD build, it does AP damage. What the Manamune does is it increases that damage. So whether you're building AD or AP, Manamune is still going to be good. Of course, you don't go for Manamune when you're building like crit or you're building AD, but when you're building AP, Manamune is really good. Gives you the mana and gives you more ability damage, long story cut short. So Ludens, it's pretty obvious why we're going for Ludens. It gives you that big burst of damage when you hit your Q or hit your W. Of course, it also gives you ability haste. It gives you AP. And yeah, pretty much just all the stats that you want. So of course, this being an AP build, you're spell reliant. You generally want to take the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. And generally, I'll take Stasis because there's no real point of taking like the QSS anymore because you're not really playing to zip around in fights. You play her, think about like Ziggs basically. You want to stand far away, launch your W into people, and when you are like close, you can use your ult to burst someone down and your Q as well. But generally, you don't want to be too close to enemies. You want to be some distance away. Then obviously next up is Death Cap. That one doesn't really need too much explanation. Big bonus AP as well as the AP modifier to get even more AP. Then, of course, we have the penetration item, which is, of course, going to be the Void Staff. And then we top it off with the Infinity Orb, which, of course, gives you flat magic penetration, as well as, of course, critting when the enemies are low. Now, the small caveat to taking Infinity Orb is your W already automatically crits, so it doesn't really help your W, it only helps your R and your Q, which in reality is kind of good enough in my opinion. I think the other item you could take is probably the Awakened Soul Stealer, but getting takedowns and getting refresh on your abilities is not too important because your Q is really low cooldown anyways, and your W is pretty low cooldown as well, so I don't think that's too useful anyway. So I think probably the best option is going to be the Infinity Orb. Now for the runes, we're taking Airy just for the extra poke in lane, and also in later stages of the game, Airy poke is just good in general. Then we're actually taking Scorch again for the poke in lane, and also of course just in general in the later stages of the game, also going to do some damage. And you'll see her insane lane poke. Like, this build with AP Zeri actually does insane poke damage in lane. And then of course we have the bone plating. You can of course go for Hunter Genius, or you can also go not Hunter Genius, you can go for Hunter Titan, or you can go for Nullifying Orb if you prefer. But I think that, bone plating is just really good now. And lastly, we top it off with Hunter Genius, again, more ability haste. So ability haste pretty much only comes from the boots, the Hunter Genius, and our first two items. Of course, Death Cap, Void Staff, and Infinity Orb do not give any, so, we gotta get more ability haste from there. So spells, honestly, it's Flash and something else. You can really take kind of anything you want. Exhaust is good against, assassins or backline divers. You can also take Barrier, Ignite, or pretty much whatever you feel comfortable with. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the AP Zeri build. Now let's jump into the gameplay. Okay, so here we have the gameplay for AP Zeri. Now this is a really long match. We actually reached basically full build. So yeah, so basically of course AP Zeri, we're going to the mid lane. Doesn't make sense to play AP Zeri in the bot lane. So we're taking AP Zeri to the mid lane. Now, right from the get-go I said that pretty much I would pick anyone else other than her. But if I had to choose someone that does very similar things to her, I think it would be Ziggs. Because if you think about it, her ult is a huge AoE. Around her, Ziggs' ult is a big AoE, but you don't even have to physically be there. You can launch it from a screen away, or 2 screens away. And your W poke is a lot like Ziggs' bomb. Of course, Ziggs' bomb can get blocked by people, whereas your W hits everybody, but it's roughly the same. Of course, you don't really have an Ziggs doesn't have an extra form of poke in the form of your Q, but I think basically Ziggs is really similar to what AP Zeri's playstyle is. So of course you want to do that. So you basically want to just Q the enemy whenever you can and try to W them through the wall like what I just tried to do there. Here again, I'm Qing the Akali, and look at this damage just from my like auto attacks and Qs, together with of course the Scorch and the Airy damage. Look at it, the Akali is like almost dead and I'm still like full health. Now, there's no point of me really flashing onto her or anything like that because she has both Flash and Barrier. And of course we could trade Flash for Flash, but you know, we could also not trade Flash for Flash. And I'm surprised she didn't actually pop the barrier there. If I was her, I would have probably popped the barrier because it kind of looked like I was in kind of big danger there. But you know, I guess you know she just wasn't too scared of me. Anyways, we clear out the wave, and we're gonna pretty much just hang around because the wave is pushed in. There's not too much we can do. We pop a ward over there to the side. Of course, this is generally the Scuttle timer, which is where junglers can like to gang. As you guys can see, Xin Zhao and Jarvan are duking it out over there. Now here, I could have rotated if I wanted to, but my bot lane is of course rotating, and I'm trying to keep pressure on Akali so that I can actually kill her. Unfortunately, again, she lives on 1 HP, and I'm kind of running out of mana, so I'm kind of running out of opportunities to kind of kill her at this point. But anyway, something I didn't mention is I actually start Longsword, and starting Longsword allows you to get in more auto attack damage at the very beginning. Of course, it makes more sense than starting something like a Sapphire Crystal. Looking for the word there. Anyways, because Akali is actually melee, we actually are able to kind of bully her. Like, you know, we talked about how weak Zeri is in the bot lane, but in the mid lane, she actually is pretty lane dominant, as you can see when you're fighting someone who's melee. It's a classic, like, you know, melee versus range versus melee kind of situation here. Akali can't really do all that much to me, and I can pretty much just gun her down, and you know, just basically just keep poking at her health, and she cannot really respond at all. It kind of really sucks to be the melee guy in this kind of matchup because you can really do nothing. Here you can see he's just basically hanging back, and he just really can't really do very much. Here I'm just getting the CS and just getting poke damage on him at the same time. I managed to actually proc his bone plating, so next time I do anything to him, he's gonna take a lot more damage. Here I managed to miss like 2 CS under tower, kind of unfortunate. Here another thing you can do with your W is you can use it to check bushes. So here I'm checking that whether Akali is in there or not. Sometimes she wasn't. She was simply just there. Here again I'm just poking with her. With the Q. You can see the Scorch damage actually like coming in like a couple of seconds, for like the next 1 second after I hit the poke. So especially the Scorch is doing a lot of work in the lane. Unfortunately though, we haven't been able to really convert it to a kill. And she's kind of keeping up in CS. I'm only like, basically even with her on CS. So here we both end up going all in. Here I exhaust her. I'm trying to gun her down, and it really isn't working out. Here I try to flash out the way, but I end up getting killed by Akali's ultimate, and she flashes out of the tower. So basically all that effort was for naught, because basically what happened here is I just died basically. And we didn't manage to trade the kill onto her, and we just didn't manage to do anything. I mean, sometimes it do be like that where you do have a really good performance in lane, but you don't convert it to a kill, or you don't actually force out any sums, and you end up dying instead, which is kind of just really sad. But hey, you know, what can we really do about it? Nothing much. So it is what it is. And yeah, okay, so here we managed to push out the lane and put down another ward, this time a little bit deeper into the pixel brush to spot out anything happening over there. And here we have a wave that needs to be cleared. So Akali, you can see, is on the rotation. I'm quickly clearing the wave, and I'm going to rotate as well, especially because the dragon is actually up. checking if Akali is actually in that area. Turns out she's not. I'm not too sure where she went. She probably went somewhere topside, but apparently not. So she's somehow back in mid lane. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. But anyways, here we have the next wave in. The dragon and Ripper has spawned. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just auto attacking the wave because I want to get priority so I can rotate to the dragon. First, here I unload basically all my abilities on Akali just to get her, I want to say chunked out, but in reality she barely took any damage, like not too significant amounts of damage, I guess you could say. Yeah, you know, just basically just trying to poke her down. Again, using the W, this time it does hit, so she did take quite some damage there. So far, fight hasn't really broken out, so I'm just quickly trying to shove in the mid lane. Here Akali does manage to get the rotation. Here you can see the Zeri mobility coming in. Here I hop over the wall and am able to reach here for the fight. I ult to kill the Akali. I didn't actually need to ult there to secure the kill, but I ulted so that I could save the Lulu from dying to the Akali, so that Akali could not get the trade. And yeah. Now, as you guys can see here, this is obviously a normal PvP match because there's a Lulu on both teams. So the Lulu in this case, I'm referring to my own Lulu, of course. Yeah, I don't really want to play AP Zeri in ranked. I think it's I wouldn't say it's troll because it is viable, like I said, but really there are just so many champions who are better. But if you know, I wanted to test it out, of course, so that I know if it's good or not. And this is the first and probably the only match of AP Zeri I'm ever gonna play because yeah, I can't say she's not good. She is good, but there's just champions who are better than her. That's what she wants to do better. And yeah, so I'm pretty much probably not gonna pick her anymore. But yeah, we still have this video for you guys to just kind of see how AP Zeri works. Righty, so here we're just going to clear out the minion wave yet again. We can see Jarvan and Akali going up there. Here I'm again using the E for mobility to kind of just get there faster. And here I'm just getting off more poke again, dodging the Akali E. Expecting a fight to break out here, which is why I'm kind of here matching the Akali's roam. But they do have an extra jungler, whereas we don't. Here we spot an opportunity. We go in with the ulti onto the Lulu. We get the kill onto the Vayne as well. Jarvan decides to commit suicide by ulting the whole team. I'm not quite sure what he was going for there. Just a pure waste of the ultimate. But either way, we pick up 2 kills and an assist off of that. So 3-1-1 now. Doing pretty well. We're just going to quickly clear out the minion wave. And we're going to also try to get the first tower. Like you guys can see here. So we do... No, actually, that's not the first tower because enemy team already got the first tower in the bot lane. But we do end up getting the mid lane tower, which as we all know is a crucial tower. Not sure what Xin Zhao is doing here, going in on the enemies when they're right at their tier 2 tower. But doesn't quite matter, I guess. In the end, the next wave just comes and we're just going to quickly clear the wave. And yeah. So again, not much happening. It's pretty much just like any other ADC or any other mid laner. In the neutral game, just find something to farm. You know, just pretty much just farm. We have the Mana Mune not evolved into the Mirror Mana yet, but now we do have the Luden's Echo, and we also have the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. So we are, you know, slowly getting our components, and we are doing pretty well. So here we're also going to take the blue buff, of course. Very, very beneficial for us because we're spamming our abilities. We need the mana, and the ability haste is nice as well. So here, huge fight breaks out. Here, nice ult by Lulu. Here, I'm ulting as well. Try to get the damage down. Here, we actually do manage to pick up the kill onto the Akali. Mundo comes on in, and we're basically just blasting him. Exhaust him to try to save Xin Zhao, but it's a little bit too late. Here we try to continue chasing with the W. Nothing too much happens. We try to hop over the wall and get the Lulu, but unfortunately we cannot reach her. I try to snipe her with the W. I do believe it hit, but I don't think we did enough damage to actually kill her. Now we have the Mana Mune evolved into the Mirror Mana. I actually forgot to mention this in the build part, but one additional benefit of having the Mirror Mana, aside from increasing your damage on your basically all your spells, your Q, W, and your R, aside from increasing the damage of your spells, the Mirror Mana also works on your auto attacks. So if you don't have the Mirror Mana, your auto attacks are basically gonna do negligible, useless damage. But now with the Mirror Mana, your auto attacks still do decent amount of damage, which is one of the other reasons why your Mirror Mana is really good. I can't believe I forgot to mentioned this in the build section of the video, but yeah, that's why we also go for Mirror Mana. So now we have the Mirror Mana, we have the Luden's Echo, and we have Stasis. So here we're trying to see if we can get over here and do something about the situation. Here we're trying to snipe the Jarvan, but Jarvan EQs away. Here I have to flash because I obviously just used my E. I used my ult to secure the kill onto the Jarvan, but obviously I know I'm dead. Just trying to buy more time with the Stasis for my team to push in top lane. But their wave is not quite there, so the enemy team probably can recall and respond if they wanted to. We'll see what happens here. Ashe and Lulu, of course, are pushing down the tower. Akali is actually in mid lane. Mundo, not quite sure where he went. He did not recall though, but Vayne is here to respond anyway. So in the end, we don't really manage to get the top tier 2.
The middle turret is under attack.
Alright, so we're back out on the map, and we do die quite a bit this game. But yeah, so here anyways, we're just gonna clear out the minion wave. Look at that Q damage, by the way. The Q damage is pretty insane. Like that, you can see how much damage the Q does. Especially with the Luden's proc, of course, does insane amounts of damage. And here, of course, we're gonna pick up the blue buff again. And so here we basically have vision of 4 enemies already, and obviously everyone's congregating at the dragon area because the dragon is up. Now here I messed up. I messed up the E over the wall. As you guys can see there, I was trying to E all the way across the wall to like where the blast cone was, but I ended up because of that angle of the wall. I talked about this in my complete guide, but because of the angle of the wall, I ended up getting kicked out before I wanted to, so wrong angle, and because of that I just instantly die. Goes to show how important it is to learn the Zeri angles on the walls, especially in these kind of tight situations where you don't have the time to manually take a second to aim it. You gotta know the right spot to stand and just quickly E over the wall, like with a snap of a finger. Here Yone, absolute disaster, goes all in on Vayne and just misses everything basically. Anyway, we respawn, so we're here trying to take down the Mundo. Mundo actually has a shutdown. He's 6-1 and 2. So here, Polymorph comes in from the Lulu. Here I've had enough of how tanky he is. Basically, I ult to secure the kill onto the Mundo. 750 Gs in the pocket. Lovely to, of course, get towards our death cap. Here, Polymorph goes onto the Akali, but obviously she's full health. We don't have the kind of burst to just kill her 100 to 0, of course. So, you know, not too much is going to come of it. And here Vayne goes in with the ulti. Not too much comes of that either. Here I'm trying to dash back in to do damage. I end up finding myself in trouble. I exhaust the Jarvan so he doesn't do too much damage. Avoid the Akali E as well. Here I'm hopping over the wall, but too little, too late. Vayne actually manages to flash the wall, realizes that she's going to be in trouble and die to me if she stays there. So she wisely flashes the wall instead of just trading kills with me 1-for-1. Good move by the Vayne. Either way, the Akali dies to the Ashe, and Ashe picks up a shutdown on Akali. Whiffs the arrow through everyone though. And yeah, so that was kind of a really messy fight in the mid lane. Kind of fighting over nothing really at this point. So here Mundo tries to go in onto the Ashe and pretty much just runs her down. Mundo doing what Mundo does, I guess. And Yone is next to fall. Kind of a disaster. What just happened there, but here we're gonna use our I was gonna say we're gonna use our W to clear the wave, but really we kind of missed the whole wave. So here I'm just getting a little bit of poke damage with my auto attacks as I am trying to clear the minions at the same time. And yeah, so here I'm recalling. I think I have death cap here, which is why I'm recalling. So here I'm gonna recall, pick up the death cap. 3 items now. Of course, we're gonna do pretty good damage now. And yeah, we really need that penetration soon because you can see that Mundo has like the Spirit Visage and like Vayne has the Wit's End. A lot of like magic resist going on in their team. And yeah, so here we're gonna pick up this huge wave. And we're also gonna pick up the red buff. I would have given Ashe the red buff, but Ashe is on the wrong side of the map and it's gonna expire anyways, probably before she can get here. So I'm just gonna pick up the red buff so it's not wasted. Here you guys can see the huge W damage now. You can see that 700 crit on the W damage. Here I'm going to try to W the Mundo. Does hit. Here hopping the wall with the ulti. Look at the burst damage onto the Lulu. Lulu unfortunately scampers away And here we're just blasting wherever we can. Of course, this is AP, so we're not going to do too much damage with the auto attacks. I'm exhausting the Akali again, just kiting back while I'm Eing. So here I flash away from the Mundo, kill the Akali stasis, and hop the wall. Stasis bought right enough time for my E to come back off cooldown, which allowed me to hop the wall and actually survive that whole encounter. In case you guys didn't know, I did know Akali marked me, and I flashed on purpose when the mark was on me because I wanted her to follow me so that I could kill her. I did not want to flash when she actually reached, because I know that she couldn't kill me and I could kill her. So that was a calculated decision, not like a misplay or anything like that. And the whole sequence kind of turned out how I wanted it to, like pretty much just for once, instead of just it being a disaster like how it normally is. It actually worked out this time, and we did kill Akali without dying to Mundo. Okay, so one of the other weaknesses of AP Zeri that I didn't really mention is you basically want to always do this. Look at that burst, by the way. You want to always W through a wall. So one of the limiting factors of Zeri's W poke is you have to W through a wall, which is not a problem that Ziggs has, which is kind of why I think AP Zeri is not too good. But you guys saw from that pretty much one shot of the Lulu, I pretty much hit her with a WQ and she almost died. She was at 1 HP. And I think Ashe helped to secure the kill. So here I'm hopping the wall with the ulti burst. I exhaust the Vayne so she doesn't do too much damage, but eventually Mundo himself does a little bit too much damage. So I end up trading 1-for-1 with the Vayne, and Mundo is just running down the Lulu. This Mundo, he's of course building full tank, but he is of course Mundo and his base numbers are really high. Here Lulu is, going around the world just trying to escape the Mundo. Ashe comes over to help, and unfortunately for the Lulu here, she gets smited by Jarvan and dies. One of the worst ways to die. Getting smited to die is just really sad. But hey, it is what it is. And here, after all that shenanigans, we actually have picked up our Void Staff and also our Prophet's Pendant. So now we're almost at full build. And at this point, we should be able to one-shot squishy targets, Lulu, Vayne, Akali should be one-shot. The issue is, Akali and Vayne have a dash, so the amount of time it takes for your W to shoot out, there's no way they're gonna get hit by that. So that kind of sucks for me, because I want to one-shot them, but it's really difficult because how would they just stand there and let themselves get hit by my W? It just won't happen. So we gotta either hit them when their dash is not available, or we gotta hit them when they get CC'd by my teammates. So yeah, now here it's me versus Vayne, and I'm not gonna win against Vayne. Here Vayne can easily run me down, of course, because I'm building AP, so I don't really do damage with my auto attacks. I'm not winning against Vayne, no way Jose. So I'm gonna have to just back right on off. And yeah, pretty much can't pick a fight with her. Here another fight's happening though. So here we're going to see what we can do with the situation. I'm trying to W through and I actually hit a couple of people, including Lulu with the W. Half health the Lulu here. I ulti, again Lulu's left at 1 HP. Zinja picks up the kill. I exhaust the Mundo, who's doing insane damage despite the fact that he's a tank. Yone picks up the kill. And here we're trying to go in on the rest of them, which is of course being the Jarvan as well as the Vayne. Ashe whiffs the arrow, unfortunately. Here it's kind of a disaster because we were chasing for them, but the Yone and Ashe stopped chasing. So because of that, we find ourselves in a 2v2 instead of a 4v2, and because of that, Vayne can basically ult and just destroy me and Lulu. And then Yone and Ashe comes in pretty much after the fight is over. They do manage to clean up the kill and get the kill onto the Vayne, but Jarvan manages to slinker off with his GA intact. Now we can see Akali's on the way up, and I'm pinging them to retreat from Akali. Now they both decide to try and recall in the bush, and Ashe does manage to complete the recall. Yone cancels the recall. Probably wouldn't have been able to complete it anyway because they probably would have checked that bush. Tries to 1v2, but it isn't gonna happen, and he dies. Now at this point, we're 19 minutes into the game. This is a long game, and at this point the death timers are over 50 seconds, so that is kind of a crucial death. Elder Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds, and Yone is not gonna be up when Elder Dragon spawns, and we're getting to crunch time where every death could mean a lost Elder, a lost Baron, a lost game even. So of course, when we get late in the game, it is, of course, that's how the game works. So here, of course, Elder Dragon's coming up. I'm kind of just pinging that, we gotta be aware Elder Dragon's coming soon. Here I'm dubbing through the wall, clearing the minion wave, and trying to get poke if I can. And here, Jarvan and Akali are kind of just walking up. Not quite sure what they're doing here. Jarvan comes all the way in. And, yeah, Akali as well gets hit by the Ashe arrow, allowing me to finally hit my W and get the kill on her. So that's what I was kind of talking about earlier on, where, you gotta wait for your teammates to sort of get the CC down for you to hit your W easily. Here I'm pretty much just blasting whoever I can at this point. Here we, of course, got the pick onto the Akali and then the Vayne as well. So here, honestly, we got the pick on two of the crucial enemy carries. In fact, it's both the enemy carries. I hit another W. Here you see Xin Zhao veering off to the side to go for Elder. Now, Xin Zhao can easily solo the Elder. All we gotta do is really just keep these people occupied, which is kind of what we're doing here. They're all like really, really low. Ashe, unfortunately, ults the Mundo, who is the guy who can tank his ult. Now, I managed to actually get the kill on Lulu using my Q under the tower, and we do manage to secure the kill on Lulu as well as the tower. And of course, Vayne is still dead. Akali has just respawned, and Xin Zhao is in the meantime still doing the Elder Dragon. He should be almost done at this point. There we go, we do get the Elder Dragon. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just recall. And of course we can complete our Infinity Orb by now. And we are pretty much just full build at this point. We're at 18k gold. At this point we have the most gold in the game. And yeah, AP Zeri does work, as I mentioned. But I just think there are so many builds that are bad. Look at that, one-shotting the wolves basically. Yeah. So here I would kind of like the blue buff, but Ashe and Xin Zhao are clearly, already taking it. So here I'm actually pinging to attack Baron because we have Elder at this point and they cannot really stop us from getting Baron. But for some reason, Ashe is just not interested. She goes elsewhere and we need her DPS to get the Baron. Here we're pretty much just running down the Mundo because, he's tanky but he has nowhere to go. You can slowly just run him down and down he goes. So here Ashe arrow comes in, hits nobody again, and the Lulu does end up dying to the Xin Zhao. Here I'm just going to push in the bottom lane wave. Now we already have the bot lane inhibitor, but it's just going to be useful to just create pressure in general. Jarvan is kind of just running away. Here I'm just going to secure the skull just for the vision. We're already full build, so we don't necessarily need any more gold. Again, I'm trying to ping for Baron, but again, my team just isn't really interested. So instead, we're just going to just push, I guess. So we're just gonna push down towers here. You guys can see me and Xin Zhao do pretty decent damage to the tower. We're gonna just quickly just get this tower. Here Xin Zhao goes in 1v3. Here I get a really good W, and here Vayne is left at 1 HP. Akali is also left at 1 HP. Both of them stasis, and I end up dying. I didn't stasis myself because I was trying to get a kill on one of them, especially with the Elder buff, but it doesn't really quite work out. So it kind of becomes a disaster because me and Xin Zhao just died. My team is now fighting 3v5. Yone actually goes in and gets like a 3 or 4 man ulti there. Does manage to kill Akali off of that, but the rest of the enemy team is still relatively healthy, and they're on the chase for Lulu and Ashe. Alright, so here Ashe of course does have that slow, so it is kind of difficult to kite out an Ashe. Now here unfortunately she gets hit by the Mundo Cleaver, so she is slowed, and here Lulu flashes forward for the polymorph, and they're all left at 1 HP, but unfortunately it's only Lulu left. Like Lulu cannot really do anything against the Vayne, so she dies. And the wave that we pushed in just now, it actually managed to get half of the HP of the enemy Nexus, which is of course what can happen if if you leave the wave unattended. So now we have 3 waves of super minions, and all the inhibitor towers down, of course. So at this point, it should be a 1 game. Now here I'm not sure why I'm taking the chickens. It's just like a force of habit. Where I don't really register that I'm full build, and I'm still like taking farm anyways when I should not. Here we spot the Mundo as well as the Vayne. Mundo of course doesn't really take too much damage from my spells because he's really tanky. He's full build as well. Pretty much everybody in this game pretty much is full build. The only people who are not full build are the 2 supports, I think. And Yone is also missing out on his last item. But pretty much everyone's at full build at this point, so goal leads and such doesn't actually really matter anymore. again Ash out the Mundo, the one guy who, you know, is CC immune. So here, we're trying to get a free pick onto the Mundo, which is exactly what we do. And with that pick onto the Mundo, we can try to force, you know, a fight or force the end of the game. Here, Yone goes in with the ulti, and Xin Zhao goes in with him. I'm a little bit far away to really do anything here. But yeah, here I finally reached the fight and pop the GA of the Vayne. And here I do mistime the W, but doesn't really matter. I can Q anyways. And here the minions are just all flooding in and ending the game. I believe Xin Zhao actually auto-attacked to end the game. But yeah, that's pretty much it for AP Zeri. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.